Jiang Wan woke up thirsty. Her throat felt like sandpaper, her head throbbed. She tried to turn over but found her body pinned down by something heavy. An arm. Solid and strong. Wrapped around her waist. The unfamiliar touch jolted her fully awake. She opened her eyes. A crystal chandelier she didn't recognize. Gray walls. Harsh morning light filtering through cream-colored curtains. Not her bedroom. Her heart began to race. She turned her head. Lu Chuan, the man she had fought with from kindergarten all the way through graduate school for 20 years, was sleeping next to her. His face was inches away, his breathing steady. Worse, beneath the sheets. There was no barrier between their skin. She could feel the warmth of his chest, the line of his thigh. Fragments of memory attacked. Blaring Kate EV music. 3 glasses of liquor he'd pushed toward her. The rain after, fighting over the last taxi. Ending up at a hotel together. Then nothing but confused, burning, dizzying flashes. His hands. His kisses. His heavy breath in her ear. Her own unfamiliar, helpless sound. She had to leave. Carefully she lifted his arm from her waist. Holding her breath, inching away. Her foot touched the cold carpet. Just as she relaxed. "Hello," gravelly voice came from behind. "Where are you going?" She froze. Not daring to look back. He seemed to laugh softly. "Turn around," he said. She grabbed the black dress crumpled on the floor, the one she had worn to the graduation party, and tried to put it on. The zipper stuck halfway up her back. Then a cool hand reached from behind and took it from her. His fingers brushed her bare spine. She shivered, electrified. He pulled the zipper up slowly, almost gently. His fingers grazing her vertebrae. He turned and met his eyes. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, also naked, with only the corner of a sheet draped over his waist. The morning light outlined his broad shoulders and narrow waist. There were suspicious reddish marks on his chest. His hair was messy, but his gaze was sharp. He raised an eyebrow, his eyes moving over her face, her body, then stopping at her neck. "I think it was more like a long-planned loss of control," he said. She looked down and saw a clear, intimate hickey below her collarbone. Her face burned. She stepped back and told him, through clenched teeth, that last night had never happened. He stood and walked toward her. She backed away until her spine hit the cold wall. He put a hand on the wall beside her head, leaned down close and asked if she really thought they could go back. She forced herself to meet his eyes and said yes. Of course they'd fought for 20 years. One drunken night couldn't change anything. He looked at her a moment. Then, "Let go and walk to the bathroom." "Fine," he said. "As you wish." She grabbed her underwear ridiculously hanging from the lampshade and fled. That evening was the graduation party's official reunion dinner. She went. He had already arrived, wearing a light gray shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He looked up and caught her eyes across the crowded room, then looked away as if nothing had happened. Later, he left the table. Her phone lit up with a private message from him: "The back of your neck. Cover it. In the restroom." She twisted her neck in the mirror and saw a kiss mark just below her hairline. She covered it frantically. When she came out, he was leaning against the wall in the hallway, an unlit cigarette between his fingers. "You said last night never happened," he said. "If anyone noticed those marks, it would be hard to explain." She was speechless. After that night, she decided to ignore him completely at work. He, however, refused to cooperate. Small changes began, slowly, persistently. Before they fought over the coffee machine. Now, her mug was always filled with hot Americano. Exactly how she liked it, no sugar. A touch of milk, a preference she had never told anyone. Then there was the air conditioning. Her desk was directly under a vent. She was always cold. That summer, she noticed the vent had been adjusted so the cold air missed her entirely. A silent fan had appeared on his side of the room. The moment that undid her came late one night. After hours of overtime, she had fallen asleep at her desk. She woke to find a familiar navy blazer draped over her shoulders, the one he had been wearing that day. It still held the faint scent of cedar. He was sitting across from her, working on his laptop, his face expressionless in the glow of the screen. In the enormous, empty office, Only the small lamp above her desk was on. A soft, unnamed emotion knocked against her heart. He drove her home that night. In the car, she asked him what he really wanted. He said some things, once they happen, can't be undone. She could pretend they hadn't, but he couldn't. All he knew was that he didn't want to treat her the way he used to. He parked outside her apartment and turned to her. "Give us a chance," he said. "Don't shut it down. Don't try to go back. Try it. See if it works." After a long silence, she heard her own rough voice howl. After that, a quiet understanding settled between them. He stopped the obvious gestures of care. She stopped her deliberate coldness. At work, they remained efficient partners, occasionally clashing. Outside of work, the boundaries blurred. After late nights, he would doctor her home, occasionally stopping at an old dessert shop they had known as children. He would order her favorite double-skin milk pudding and a bowl of green bean soup for himself. Sitting on the familiar plastic chairs, surrounded by sweet steam, they would talk about the past, the petty disputes, the childhood grudges. In the warm light of that late-night shop, the fights that once infuriated them now seemed absurd and tender. Their lives, she realized, had been filling each other for 20 years through arguments and competition. One night, after stopping outside her building, he asked if she had gotten over her habit. "Her habit?" he said. "When you're nervous or thinking, you bite the second knuckle of your left index finger." Then he listed more. Her hands were old in winter but sweaty in summer. She didn't dislike cilantro for its taste, but because she was allergic, she hated rain. Not because it was inconvenient, but because she had slipped and gashed her knee in 3rd grade. 3 stitches. She stared at him. Even her closest friends didn't know these things. After 20 years. "You remember some things," he said. "I used to see them as weaknesses I could use against you." Now, he didn't finish, but her heart was already stirring. Their fragile balance broke during a work crisis. A major overseas project was in danger of collapsing. Facing a critical negotiation, the tension boiled over. They argued bitterly, and exhausted and overworked, the fight turned ugly. In the heat of it, he said the worst thing: "Do you know how insufferable you are always having to win, always having to crush everyone else?" The moment it left his mouth, he froze. The color drained from her face. She grabbed her bag and fled the office, not waiting for the elevator, running down the stairwell into the rain. That night, a storm broke. She didn't go home. Her phone was off. He looked everywhere: the dessert shop, the university campus, the bookstore they used to go to in high school. Nothing. At 3 in the morning, he dragged himself back to his apartment. Under the dim light by the entrance, he saw a curled figure. She sat on the wet steps, soaked through, her hair plastered to her pale face. When she heard his footsteps, she looked up, her eyes swollen. "Don't," she said, her voice raw when he tried to pull her up, and asked if she was crazy. "Let's stop," she smiled bitterly. "Trying to pretend everything's fine. Trying to start over. It's too hard. We just don't fit. Like you said, we've hated each other for 20 years. That's the truth. That night was just a mistake." He cut her off. That wasn't the truth. It was anger. Stupid, cruel anger. But she shook her head. "Does it matter? When you're angry, the truth comes out." He looked at her. So fragile she seemed about to shatter. And all the tangled, confusing emotions he'd carried for so long suddenly found their only possible escape. "I like you," he said. The rain was loud, but the words landed clearly. "I hate how brilliant you are. How easily you draw everyone's attention. How you're tougher than most men even though you're a woman. I hate it because it forces me to keep chasing, keep fighting, just to make you see me. That's not hate. Jiang Wan, that's jealousy. Insecurity, fear. Fear that he would never be more than her rival. Fear that no matter what he did, that was all he would ever be. That night wasn't a mistake," he said, his voice breaking. It was the first time in 20 years I felt like I was really close to you. Not as an opponent, but as a... He didn't finish. She had thrown herself into his arms, her face buried in his neck, her shoulders shaking. He held her tight, as if trying to press her into his own chest. "We're starting over," he said into her wet hair. "Not trying. Starting over. From... I like you. Is that okay?" After a long moment, he felt her nod. Months passed. Another project celebration dinner. Another rainy night. This time, he opened an umbrella naturally and pulled her beneath it. At the car, instead of opening the door, he pressed her gently against it, holding the umbrella over them to shield her from the rain. He kissed her. "I have the answer now," he said, his forehead against hers. "The rest of our lives to figure it out. How to love you. How to let you love me. How to make up faster after a fight. How to turn a sworn enemy into a spouse." She reached up and linked her arms around his neck. He smiled. "Aren't we both good soldiers?" A tear slipped down her cheek. She kissed him then, at the place where they had started so disastrously, beginning a new chapter full of sweet, heady conflict. They both knew that their story from here had only just begun.